Hey everybody, Nick Knack Anime here for a quick countdown. My top 10 animes of 2013. Let me state a couple of rules before I start. 1. This is my opinion. 2. These are animes that were released in 2013 that I watched. 3. It had to have ended in 2013, so no stuff like Kill la Kill will be on this list. And 4. I'm new to watching seasonal stuff, and because of it, certain ones you might have loved will not be on this list. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's begin. Starting off the list at number 10 is the controversial Aku no Hana. Despite both the ending and the animation sucking, I for the most part was enjoying what this anime had to bring with the characters and scenes that the protagonist was put through. I mean, going through every episode, I was all like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? To the point that I was quivering with excitement. Despite the love though, I wouldn't recommend watching it however, because again, the ending ruined the show. Still, it was nice to watch for the most part, and in terms of the series, I recommend reading the manga, because I've heard it was amazing for the most part. Number 9 goes to Galilei Donna. Now when I first heard about the show, I was intrigued with the concept of following the adventures of the descendants of Galileo. So I breezed through it, and though it had problems with the story, it was a nice anime to watch for the most part. On the positive side, the animation, concept, and music were very nice, which is why it has a spot on the list. The negatives, however, are why it's at number 9, and those range from the character development, to the ending, to the historically inaccurate mistake of confusing Galileo with Da Vinci. Don't know what I'm talking about when in terms of that? Watch the anime and see for yourself. But despite all that, as I said again, I enjoyed this anime, and if they make a manga out of it, I'd read it. Coming in at number 8 is a pretty big surprise for me, and that's Want to Be the Strongest in the World. Now for those who've seen this anime, to tell you the truth, surprisingly it's not on this list for the fan service, rather than the character development. I personally enjoyed seeing the protagonist change from being a jabroni to being able to hold her own against the best in the world for like female wrestling in the series here. Besides that, the anime had some pretty decent music, and the fight scenes for the most part were well done. Surprisingly, I would recommend the series even with its fan service flaws and generic story. Check it out if you're into ecchi or ecchi or whatever it's called, or wrestling animes. At number 7, I'm going to have to give it to Bloodlag. This anime hooked me in with its gimmick of an otaku vampire being the protagonist, and for the most part, it was really enjoyable. Other than that gimmick, the anime had some decent fight scenes, nice characters, and some interesting plot twists. As you can tell, of course, I really enjoyed it. I just wish, however, that the ending could have been a little better, or that the series could have been a little longer, which is why it's at number 7. Let's hope for season 2, however, because I'd be interested to see more of the anime references and what the protagonist has to go through with resurrecting a human girl and whatnot. But yeah. Number 6 is Sunday Without God. Though it had problems relating to Deus Ex Machina and convolutedness, this anime kept me entertained through its unique premise and characters. Like seeing a world in which you're unable to procreate nor die was just unique, and the consequences it has, I'm all like, wow. As for characters, the main one is very likable, and all the other ones have personalities, which is pretty awesome. Also forgot to mention that the music is really nice as well. Again, overall, I loved what this anime had to offer me, and for those, I put at number 6. Just like number 7, as I said again, I hope a season 2 is made. But yeah, can't really say much more about this series. Coming in at number 5 is the Severing Crime Edge. This anime is pretty high due to its concept of its characters being the descendants of killers, wanting to kill just one person in order to have their wishes granted, and we see the main character trying to protect this one person, having to battle a ton of people wanting to claim the bounty. It was enjoyable for the most part, and to support it, the anime had this unique theme of having significant others being able to help you through your suffering, which was nice. Also, the music and ending were great for the most part, with how it wrapped up nicely. With what it offered, this series ranked pretty high for me. Even the slightly boring episodes were enjoyable. Check it out, because I think this might be a hidden gem or a diamond in the rough of last year. Number 4, I'm giving to Pokemon Origins. I mean, what else does there need to be said about this series that hasn't been said? This 4-episode anime showed an awesome retelling of the first 2 games that made people like me go, oh yeah! In the sense of how we remember almost everything about this game, from how much of an asshole the rival was, to trying to catch our peoples as Pokemon, yet failing at it. I mean, the nostalgia factor was hype. Now, while that part was good, the thing that made the anime was the character of Red, and how he is a whack-ass protagonist compared to Ash. Unlike Ash, Red was able to dominate, and that made the series better than anything that came out of Pokemon from the last few years. Though it's paced really quickly, making you want more of it, this is nonetheless an amazing special worth checking out, and that's why it's at number 4. At number 3 is my biggest surprise of the year, and that's Gatchaman Crowds. If someone were to ask me what the most underrated anime of 2013 was, I will have to say this one, because man was the series so epic, yet nobody seemed to have watched it. This anime had a whole lot of great things about it, ranging from the animation, to the action scenes, to the premise and themes, to my 2 favorite things, the main character and that soundtrack. Like I tell you what, if I were to make a list of my favorite anime characters of the year, the number 1 spot would go to the protagonist of this series, the one shown in the center. Now sure, there are a couple of problems in the series, such as unanswered questions, mad pacing, and the confusing beginning and the somewhat bad ending, but the positives outweigh the negatives, and the fact that a second season was announced helped makes up for it a bit. So to end the rambling, check the series out, because man, it deserves more love. Now before some of you get angry at me for putting Attack on Titan at number 2, let me just say that I at least put very high on the list. Believe it or not, there are some people on YouTube who consider it a shit show and dropped it. Heck, there was one guy I watched who thought Free was a better anime than this series. So before I get attacked, just be happy I'm not one of those people who I mentioned. Not gonna name names by the way, because yeah. But getting back on track, there's really nothing more to say about the series that hasn't been said already. It did have the usual tropes people hate, the action was great, the premise awesome, and of course the visuals were intense. So why is it at number 2 then? Well, sometimes the pacing felt a little weird, and the characters were not super amazing. But apart from those, the anime was nonetheless great, and if you haven't seen it yet, then what the hell are you waiting for? Hurry up and enjoy the fuck out of it. And finally, coming in at number 1, my favorite anime of 2013 is Silver Spoon. Now if you've seen the series, you might be all like, what the fuck? How does an anime about farming take the top spot and beat Attack on Titan? Well, 2 reasons. 1, it was very relaxing to watch, and I love relaxing animes. And 2, believe it or not, it was pretty educational. Like after watching this, I suddenly gained a newfound respect for people working in the farming and agricultural business, because the stuff they have to do takes some mad effort and determination. And if a huge slip up happens, hundreds of dollars goes down the drain. And for that, those people should be deemed as everyday heroes. But getting back into anime at hand, the show also kicks major ass through its characters and music, in the sense that the soundtrack was so relaxing and helped support the protagonist's journey in finding himself, while learning about the everyday life of people in the business. Overall, I can't recommend this anime enough, and thank God a season 2 is currently happening right now. Please check it out because it's surprisingly good. So those were my favorite animes of 2013. As always, let me know in the comments below what your favorite animes of the year were, or just animes you've watched in that year that you enjoyed. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching, take it easy, and until next video,